Why hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to Crayniaq Gaming. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the return of the Baltimore State Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the sub button if you're new as well, and if you guys want to see all my uploads as soon as they're uploaded, make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you can join the notification gang. But anyways, we're going to get it rolling. Now, it's been a while since I uploaded this series, obviously. For those of you guys who don't know, basically what happened was my laptop crashed, so I wasn't able to post either the ACC championship game or the bowl game that I was in, but I'm going to spoil it for you guys. I ended up winning the ACC championship game. I don't remember who I was playing against, unfortunately, and then I ended up winning the national championship as well. If I remember correctly, I was playing Stanford in the national championship, but we have now won back-to-back national championships, and we're looking to go for the trifecta, winning 3 in a row, going into the 6th year of this series. Now, just taking a look at the 7-year extension that Charles McCray received. Now, obviously, winning 2 national championships in a row and being to 3 different BCS games in a row, that's going to merit you getting an extension, and Charles McCray has a 7-year extension. Now, of course, with an extension, higher expectations are going to come, so we're just going to have to keep pushing forward. Now we're going to look at the roster as a whole. We're going to do a very in-depth detail on most of the players on the team. First, we're going to look at Jesse Garner, of course. He missed a lot of last year with an injury, then ended up getting benched for Fred Kane. 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year. Not the best stats in the world for a 99 overall. But he's going to be competing with Fred Kane for the starting quarterback position. Kane actually started the national championship game as well, if I remember correctly. I'm going to post that national championship game sooner or later. But Kane, 20 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year, and actually returns as the leading rusher with 367 yards. Of course, Josh Seymour, coming off the Heisman Trophy win. He graduated last year, so we won't have him this year. But Kane, the leading rusher so far for this team. And one of our big acquisitions over the offseason was Eric McIntyre. He's 6'5", 244 pounds. Definitely very athletic. 89 speed, as you see, 81 agility, 80 acceleration. Throw power is at 86, throw accuracy is at 78, so he has a lot of things to work on. We also got Gerald Frazier. Very similar to McIntyre, only 1 overall point behind him. 88 speed, 80 acceleration, 78 agility, then 85 throw power and 78 throw accuracy, so he has a lot to work on as well, but a very similar player to McIntyre. Then we have Kevin Pride, who doesn't really fit the archetype of quarterback that we usually look for. He's more of a Franklin Jones guy. He's more from his cloth. Only 65 speed, acceleration, and agility, but 90 throw accuracy and 75 throw power. Only 50 awareness, however. He's going to have to work on that if he wants to have a shot at one day being the starting quarterback. Now we move to the running back position, and we got Bobby Rodriguez listed as a starter to start the season. He was mainly a kick return guy before he suffered a season-ending injury midway through the season last year. Now, rushing-wise, he only had 10 carries for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns, so not a lot of carries for him, but he's definitely a very explosive player, and I'm definitely looking forward to implementing him more into the offense. And you look at his kick return stats, no kick return touchdowns last year. He always came close but got holding calls thrown against him. But he did have a punt return for a touchdown last year. So we'll have to see how that transitions into him being the running back. Behind him, we have Jeff Elliott, who has a lot more experience carrying the football. 35 carries last year, 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's very similar to Rodriguez in a lot of ways, but he's smaller, both in height and in weight. So I think Rodriguez would probably be the better option as far as starting running backs go, but Elliott will definitely get his touches. Did fumble 2 times, so he's going to have to work on that a little bit. And our third running back on the list is going to be Colin Mentor, a freshman out of Mission Viejo, California. He's actually a patron of mine, and he's more of a power running back. Not a whole lot of speed to him, only 85 speed, 85 agility, and 80 acceleration, but 85 trucking is very attractive to me. He just has to work on his ball carrier vision a little bit, and he'd definitely be a stud in the future. I'll probably redshirt him the first year. Then we have Eric Kelly as a 4th running back, only a 69 overall, 85 speed, 83 acceleration, and 80 agility. So he's definitely probably going to be a redshirt for the first season, but hopefully in the future he's able to contribute to this team. And Now we move to fullback. We do use fullbacks in offense still. We got Tommy Peoples playing fullback for us. He had 26 carries, 90 yards. I believe he was more of a running back last year, whereas we had Zach Hobart playing fullback for us. But Peoples will definitely be used in a lot of short yard situations, as he is a very powerful runner. And he did have a few catches last year. He's not really a receiving threat like that, however. And then the backup fullback is going to be Matt Harris. Only a 41 overall. He has a lot of work to do if he wants to stick with the team after this year. But I'll probably slap him with a red shirt to start off and see where he goes after that. But the stats just aren't very attractive. Now we move to the receiver position. We got Josh Bryant as the number one receiver. 38 catches, 528 yards, and 6 touchdowns last year. Obviously with Seymour, we were more of a run-first offense, so our receivers aren't really going to be threats to get 1,000 yards, but maybe that will change this year. Then we got Carlos Starks, who saw a pretty big drop in his production. Only 38 catches, 528 yards. Still had the same amount of touchdowns as he did in his freshman season, but he did also drop 5 passes, so he's going to have to work on his hands. But he is the number 2 option. Number 3, we got Ricky Lee Perry Paul, kind of our Danny Amendola or Julian Edelman type receiver. 43 catches, 635 yards last season, and 8 touchdowns. So he did end up leading the team in a lot of those stats, but also had 4 drops. So he's also another guy who has to work on his hands, but definitely a very dependable receiver. And the newest addition to the receiving core is Nick Gold out of New Kensington, Pennsylvania. 6'1", 216, 91 speed, 86 acceleration, 84 agility. Catching's at 78, route running 77, but it's spectacular catches at 84, which is really good. And I definitely expect him to play a big part in this offense this year. Not planning on redshirting him at all. Then the 5th receiver, the 75 overall, Jalen Morrison. I'm probably going to slap him with a red shirt to start this year. He has 90 speed, but 70 agility isn't very good. But definitely a guy who we're going to be working on a whole lot. Definitely a project receiver once Starks and Bryant leave. Maybe even next year. Then we got Dustin Scott returning for his sophomore season. Only had 1 catch last year, not really too impressive for the most part, but hopefully he'll be more of a part of this offense this year. 81 catching, which is pretty good. Then we got Johnny Quayside, who was a high school teammate of both Kevin and Jake Pride. He'll probably get hit with a red shirt as well. Moving on to the tight end, we moved Zach Hobart back to tight end. He played fullback last season and was used mainly on 4th and shorts or like any short yard situations in general. 5 carries, 15 yards, mainly on 4th downs. I think every single carry he had was on a 4th down. So he did a pretty good job. And Marcus Morgan going to be his backup. He only had 1 catch last season, with Todd Renner and Lawrence Henderson being the main tight ends in the offense. Then we got AJ Coleman, who's a 47 overall. Another guy, I mean, I can't redshirt him because he's already been redshirted, but I don't really expect him to really put many stats up at all. Then we moved to the offensive line. We got Jackson Leger coming back after a very successful freshman season. 12 pancakes, only gave up 4 sacks. That's pretty damn good for a left tackle. I expect him to improve on those stats. You see 87 run blocking, 84 pass blocking, but he's definitely a stud. We got Isaiah Thomas behind him. He's a 77 overall. Not as fast as Leger, than John Ball, the junior. Then at left guard, we got Chris Jones returning as the starter. Started as a true freshman, gave up 9 sacks, but also got 11 pancakes, so I definitely like his potential in the offense. 92 acceleration and 87 strength, so those are definitely positives there. And I expect him to improve on the season. His backup will be Keith Jones, who will probably push Chris Jones for the starting position. 92 acceleration, 90 run blocking, so he'll definitely be an asset in the run game. At center, we got Ricky Jones returning for his senior season. 90 run blocking there, 88 acceleration. Had 7 pancakes last year, only 5 sacks given up. Not very good for an interior offensive lineman, but he's definitely an asset in the run game, and I expect him to have a big year. Backing him up is the sophomore Alex Fry, only a 72 overall, so he's going to have to improve a lot before he takes over Ricky Jones' position next year. Now we go to right guard. We got Vincent Tyler, who's finally going to get his chance to start in his senior season with Bobby Williams graduating. 95 acceleration, 94 run blocking, so we're going to be running to the right side a whole lot, right behind Tyler, maybe some off-tackle plays or whatever, but definitely a stud. and I can't wait to see what he can do. His backup will be Tim Lewis, who's also a senior. Unfortunately, he's not going to get a lot of playing time this year. But if anything were to happen to Tyler, knock on wood, I think Lewis would do a good job replacing him. At right tackle, we got Sean Johnson returning for his senior season. Only had 4 pancakes and 7 sacks given up. Not very good for a right tackle. So I'm hoping and praying that he has a better season in his senior campaign, but we'll have to see. Backing him up is going to be Justin Alston, who's a redshirt sophomore, 92 acceleration, 82 pass blocking. So I might end up moving him to left tackle maybe next year, but we'll have to see. Now we go to defense. We got CJ McCray returning as the starter at left end. Obviously, he's the son of Charles McCray, and coming off a win of the Lombardi and Nagurski Awards. 15 sacks last season, 26 tackles for a loss, 42 tackles overall. And it's going to be hard to improve on those numbers, but I definitely expect him to. You got Doug Bailey backing him up. Hasn't really been a big contributor so far in his career, but hopefully he's able to do something. I'll probably implement him more this season. The senior Sean Walker, also another guy who hasn't really contributed much since his freshman season, but hopefully he's able to do something this year. Then we got Ryan Fenton, the sophomore, 6'7", 278. And his stats are pretty good. I definitely like the future that he has in this defense. Now we move to right end. We got Cedric Mosier-Dalton, who up to last year had really not contributed much to the defense outside of special teams, but 31 tackles, 15 tackles for a loss, and 6 sacks last year. Definitely had a good season in his own right. Backing him up will be the redshirt junior Kenneth Blankenship, who is another guy who hasn't really contributed much, but I like his finesse moves. It's at 87. Definitely has some potential to maybe be the starter next year, but he'll have to battle Tank Evans for the second spot. Evans an 88 strength, 95 block shedding, so I really like what he can bring to the table as far as a pass rusher. 97 hit power as well, so I definitely like what he has to bring to the table. Can definitely play some fullback for us. Then we got Brandon Hughes, who really didn't do much at all last season. No stats to really speak of, has 1 sack in his career. And I really just expect him to kind of just be a placeholder for the most part. And now we're going to move to defensive tackle. We got Evan Woods coming back for his senior season. 13 sacks last year from the inside, and that's really impressive, honestly. 27 tackles, 16 tackles for a loss. He's definitely a 3-down defensive lineman. Then we got Patrick Richardson sitting right next to him, also a senior. He had 13 tackles for a loss, only 4 sacks last year, 11 for his career. He's not as much of a pass rusher, but can definitely put pressure on the QB. And he's more of a run stopper, which is all I really ask of a guy like Richardson. Right behind them, we got Quadarius Friday, who's entering his sophomore season. Had 3 sacks last year. He's kind of a hybrid defensive end, defensive tackle for the most part. Can play pretty much either position. And he's definitely a talented guy. 3 sacks last season in limited time. Also forced a fumble. So we'll have to see what he can do this year. Then we got Joe Humphrey entering his senior year. Hasn't really contributed a whole lot, but last year he did have 2 sacks in limited time. Maybe we'll see some more of him this year in the rotation. I expect to rotate the defensive line a little bit more this year. Then we got sophomore Andrew Turner. He hasn't really contributed much. I believe this is actually his first year. I think he was a JUCO guy last year, so I'm probably going to put the red shirt on him this year and see where we go from there. Then we got Dimitri Copeland right behind him. He's a freshman. I'm probably going to put the red shirt on him as well, just so I'll have him for a full 4 years. Moving to linebacker, we got Brady Reed, returning as a starting left outside linebacker. Didn't get a lot of playing time because a lot of the time we had nickel and dime sets, and the left outside linebacker doesn't really get on those. But definitely a stud if we can get him some more playing time. Then we got Ryan Matthews right behind him. 11 tackles last year. He's more of a special teamer, but eventually I hope to get him some playing time somewhere. Then we got Chad Wright, who's now the starting middle linebacker with the graduation of Brandon Lee. Only 7 tackles and 2 pass deflections last year. Gotten a lot when we were blowing teams out. So now he'll finally get a chance to show what he can do as a starting middle linebacker. And then we got senior Jim Harris, who hasn't really been a huge contributor at middle linebacker, mainly a special teams guy. But maybe we might see him get some PT. Maybe we'll mix him in with Lee, or maybe we'll just start blowing teams out so he can get some more playing time in his senior season. And then we got Brent Freeman, who is the freshman this year. I'm definitely going to slap him with the red shirt so we get him for a full 4 years. And then we got Derek Wade at right outside linebacker. As far as linebackers go, he's definitely our biggest playmaker. 77 tackles, 24 tackles for a loss, 8 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and 5 deflections. He won best linebacker last year, so I definitely expect a lot from him this year. Then we got Chadwick Passmore, who was redshirted last year. Once Wade finally graduates or declares for the draft, he'll definitely be a pretty good starter. 94 speed, as you see, 84 play recognition, and 96 hit power. He's definitely going to be a stud in this defense. Now we move to corner. We got Antonio Coleman, won the Thorpe Award 2 years ago. Didn't have as good of a season because people weren't really throwing at him as much, but 41 tackles, 4 for a loss, 3 interceptions, and 11 deflections, so he's definitely a very competent cornerback, and I can't wait to see what he does in his junior season. Now we move on to our second cornerback. We got Tony Cox moving up in the world, 99 speed, as you see. He was the slot guy behind Jake Pride, but I think I'm going to reverse their roles just because Pride has higher awareness and Cox is more of a playmaker with the speed and whatnot. 2 interceptions last year, had a pick 6 as well, and 2 deflections. Then we have Jake Pride, like I said, as the slot receiver. He has 99 awareness, so I'm definitely excited to see what he can do this year. 3 interceptions last year, but he got picked on a lot as receivers would just burn him sometimes. He had 11 deflections, however, with how much he got picked on. Definitely expect a really good season from him. Then we got Lawrence Edwards, who's a true freshman. 89 man coverage, 90 acceleration, 93 speed. So he's definitely a guy I will be able to use at some point. I don't know if I'm going to redshirt him or use him as a dime corner. I haven't really decided yet, but we'll have to see. Now we move to free safety, and we got our highest overall player and the biggest playmaker in the defense, Brad Brown. 99 man coverage, 99 zone coverage, 99 play recognition, 99 pursuit, and 99 press. I mean, this man can really do it all. He is the best playmaker on this team by far. Can even play some quarterback. He's actually going to be our emergency quarterback this year. But last year, 50 tackles, 4 for a loss, 2 interceptions, and 7 deflections. I mean, this man is an absolute ball hawk and is definitely the leader of this defense. Now, our backup free safety is going to be Quentin Brown, who's an 80 overall. Not as talented as Brad Brown, but I still think Quentin Brown could start pretty much anywhere else in the country for the most part. 92 speed, 92 acceleration. I'll probably play him some at corner, maybe as the dime corner. And then we have Roman Cinder as the starting strong safety. Was the Thorpe winner last year, 46 tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, and 4 pass deflections. So Cinder looking to have another big season this year in his sophomore campaign. I definitely expect him to play him a lot in the box. And his backup's going to be Alex Ace, who's the same overall at him at 80 overall. I wanted to get Ace in on more of our packages, but unfortunately I didn't really think about it that much. But Ace is still a pretty good strong safety who could start for most programs in the nation. Then we got Roderick Holloway, who only missed 2 of his 13 field goals last year. Did not miss an extra point at all, so I definitely can depend on him. Hopefully he can make some longer field goals this year. We'll have to see. And our starting punter is going to be William Morris, heading into his sophomore year. Punted the ball 47 yards for an average of 45 yards per punt, and had 15 of the 47 inside the 20 and only 3 touchbacks, so definitely a very reliable punter. Hopefully he doesn't have to punt as much this year, but we'll have to see. And last but not least, out of Newport, Rhode Island, we got Rodiani Ferrioni, who actually played some quarterback in high school and could end up being like an emergency quarterback or even a special teams quarterback. But with us already having William Morris, I'm probably going to put the red shirt on him. So that's your roster for season 6. Now we're going to talk about the schedule a little bit. Obviously, we're going to start with Maryland, as we always do. Then we're going to take on number 18 Baylor at home before going to Gainesville to take on the number 1 ranked Florida Gators. Then we get a bye. We take on Florida State after that. Then another bye. Then North Carolina, Virginia, Boston College, Clemson, Syracuse, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, and North Carolina State is how we end the season. Now that's going to be the end of this video. In the next video before the Maryland game, I'll show you guys the All-Americans and all that and the projected Heisman race. And before you guys ask, yes, I am going to allow you guys to create recruits for season 6. I thought about it for a little bit. I wanted to make my own. I'll probably make 5 of them, and then I'll take maybe the first 15 that you guys create and I'll put them into the game. Now, there's no guarantee that you're going to be on Baltimore State, unfortunately, but I'm going to try my best to play the teams that you guys go to, at least of the best recruits that we have. as in like the highest overall guys. But yeah, obviously not everybody's going to get on to Baltimore State because you guys might create players that we don't really need. Like, we really don't need a quarterback at this point for a few years at least. We have 3 of them coming in from this previous recruiting class. But yeah, I definitely want to see some of you guys play. Maybe I'll put in like random games of you guys' characters as well. Now, as always, I just want you guys to make realistic names for you guys. Try not to recycle names that you've used in other series, but I mean, for Baltimore State, I don't really care that much. Not as much as I care for like Sacramento State or any other series I've done where you guys have created recruits and whatnot. And I'll try to find a way to implement like high school games into this series, like maybe for like a recruiting special of some sort. I was planning on doing one, but we'll have to see. But anyways, if you guys have made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I can't wait to get started back up with this series. I'm going to have a whole lot of fun in year 6, and hopefully we win another national championship, but we'll have to see. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button and hit the sub button if you guys are new to the channel. And make sure you guys check out the playlist for the Baltimore State series. It will be up in the top right corner and in the description. And also click on the notification bell to get all of my newest videos as soon as they're uploaded and to be part of the notification gang. Also, if you guys like what I do and you want to support the channel in a more personal way, definitely consider becoming a patron. There are a lot of great perks and benefits to being a patron, and even $1 a month definitely helps me out exponentially. And of course, I'll put your name in the graphic at the end of every single video that I upload on here. Now, I always want to make it clear, patronage and donations is never required for me to do what I do because I love making videos for you guys, honestly. But I definitely appreciate every single person who does donate or is a patron of mine. But above all else, I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for supporting all of my content. And you guys have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day, night, or whenever you're watching this video. And like I always say, guys, no matter what happens, make sure you keep that mofo rolling. And I'm out of here. Deuces.
God, they tryna turn me to a monster. Every year I'm a conquer. Okay, see, I bring the thunder. Walking in humble, Ali Muhammad. Sting you like Bumble. Running with pride. 10 over, eyes to a bliss. I don't fumble blind.